Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 371 and you'll want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. The entrepreneurs that join me each week reveal the steps they took on their journey to success, and these steps reveal a path you can take as well. Today we have Mark Willis, author, the owner of Lake Growth Financial Services and co-host of Not Your Average Financial Podcast. His mission is to help you think differently about your money, your economy, and your future. Hello, Mark.
Hi there, Patience. Great to be back on your show, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming. My audience are excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
Absolutely. The best thing I think we'll be able to share is just some counterintuitive financial strategies that can help you survive in your business, no matter what the world economy is going through.
Wow. Let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your business? Those who don't know you.
I'm a business owner, and I'm privileged to have worked with other business owners and real estate professionals, people who have really found themselves in very special circumstances, even NFL Super Bowl champions, Patience. But most of the people I work with are just wanting to get ahead in life, to take back more control of their financial future and do it in a way that's safe and predictable and without any unnecessary risk. Most of the people I meet are in unbelievable, unnecessary risk. I would say that as a business owner, we have to be very good at taking necessary risk. That's what it means, I think, just to get out of bed in the morning. However, too often we have people taking unnecessary risk, people who are doing unnecessarily risky things with their money, their retirement, their business, and we can do it. Where is it written that we have to take all this unnecessary risk? So we can do it in ways that are time tested and give us peace of mind at the same time.
But why do you do what you do?
I do it because of how I see it makes other people feel. The clients that I get to work with, the responses I get from the people I get to work with. One guy said recently, Mark, I feel like I've just been a tennis ball floating down a gutter, the gutter of life, that they're just sort of being beaten up by the world, the environment that their business is in, how their family has, been thrown for a loop these last several years. And he said, Mark, since I've begun working with you, I feel like I can finally swim upstream financially. I feel like I can now take control of my financial life. Patience, I often say I would much rather be a thermostat than a thermometer. And by that, I mean I want to be able to dial up or dial down my environment. I want to be able to control the environment in which my money lives, in which I live personally. And if I'm simply a thermometer, I'm only reflecting the surrounding environment. I'm just, I'm a victim to the surrounding environment. No, I don't want that. I would rather be a thermostat. I'd rather be able to influence to as great a degree as I can the environment around me.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you're successful?
Well, again, I think the stories I'm hearing from people, it's really a barometer for your success when you hear other people say thank you, when you hear other people tell you that what they've done because of the advice you've given them has changed them. I used to count how many tissue boxes we needed to buy in our office for the tears that were being shed as people were really coming to bear with their financial life, the good, the bad, the ugly when it comes to their financial life. And that to me is a metric of success. And again, the best part is the stories of winning and success that we're seeing people have. I had one guy, he called me and took a photo of him burning his mortgage statement because he had finally paid off his house. I had another family, they thanked me because they were able to send all of their children through college without any debt. Businesses that were able to survive the tough times. So those are the ways I guess I know I'm successful, but success is such a great word, and I love that you've added it to your show's title because success means different things to different people.
Yeah, in terms of your business and your clients, the 2020, how did it affect both sides?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is the stock market, as you might recall, took a very deep nosedive right away in March and April and May of 2020. And then we had, of course, a roaring stock market in 2021. And then we had another nosedive year in 2022. I've met people who lost a third of their life savings in 1 year, and worse if you're already in retirement. And so you're asking, how did my business get affected by 2020 and the resulting pandemic? It actually grew. We were talking about this before we hit record. It's actually improved. People are seeking out solutions that have nothing to do with the stock market, and our firm specializes in helping people build wealth outside of Wall Street in ways that actually predate Wall Street's casino. Can you imagine? What did we all do before the stock market existed? It's relatively young, and there's been places to park cash and money and wealth on this planet for thousands of years. Ways that pay you a passive income, that offer tax-free income in retirement, that can grow on a predictable and even contractually guaranteed basis. These are things that most people don't even know exist. And so, no, as they've been discovering this, we've been trying to shout it from the rooftops that these financial tools exist because I believe it's in these turbulent times that people look for alternatives. We typically get in our routine when everything is going hunky-dory. We never question the risk we might be taking. I kind of use the analogy of the Thanksgiving turkey. He is fat and happy for his entire life. He has a farmer he calls servant who feeds that little turkey every day of his life, 3 meals a day. He's well fed, he is, cared for, and he is all the way happy up until Thanksgiving Day. And it's only in that moment that he realizes that he was not as safe as he realized. And I think 2022 and really the last 3 years made us all sort of realize just how unsafe we really are with our finances, our business, at least in the way of following mainstream financial advice. So our job and our work since 2020 has been to help notify people that, hey, you do have an option. It is not a foregone conclusion to be Thanksgiving Day turkey. You can, escape the farm, so to speak.
Wow, thank you. Tell my listeners how to get paid every day for the rest of their lives.
That's kind of the mythical beast, isn't it? If you could just get paid every day for the rest of your life, boy, that would solve a lot of problems. I think the interesting piece to this is, one day our income will stop, but our expenses will never stop. Think about that for a minute, and I want you to imagine something else, Patience. Imagine, and this is sort of a hard image to take, but imagine what it would be like if you got disabled. I hope that never happens, but it's certainly a common reality for a lot of folks. Now imagine that you can't work for 30 years. Do you think that would have an impact on your finances and your lifestyle if you couldn't work for 30 years?
Yes.
That we just described retirement for all of us. And so few of us have much saved. I'll tell you, the average American has a 401k balance of about $155,000. And that's in their 50s, by the way. Now that sounds like a lot of money but when you're in America, and that generally translates into a check for about $300 a month. Now, can most of your listeners survive on $300 a month? I don't know, but I bet they're probably going to want more. So you asked, how can listeners get paid every day for the rest of their lives? Well, one of the best and most old-fashioned versions of income for life is something called an annuity. Annuities have existed for thousands of years. I was in a museum here in Chicago where I live, and there's this little museum. It's called the Ancient Oriental Institute, and I'm not being paid to advertise for them, I promise. But I love their little museum, and they have a big exhibit of all these mummies and clay tablets from thousands of years ago. Well, along the walls of one of the walls of this museum was this long parchment paper, handwritten letters on it. I walk up to it, and it's an annuity contract from 300 BC.
Wow.
Patience, 300 BC. That's 2,300 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What is an annuity? It's just a contract to get paid for the rest of your life. It's a private pension, you might say. Pensions used to be a common thing, but they have fallen out of favor in the last 50 years for a lot of reasons, mostly because corporations didn't want to pay for them. But now you, on an individual level, can buy and purchase and own your own income. Can you imagine buying your income? So that's sort of what an annuity can be for you. And you can do it without taking a bunch of market risk.
Can anyone do this, really?
Anyone can do this. It does not take a PhD in economics and in economics. It's hard to say, but most people will come to me and say, Mark, I've got a large chunk in my retirement accounts, and I've got this over my 401k, and I've got that over my IRA. I've got all these different retirement accounts. And they say to me, Mark, I feel like I don't know what to do next. I'm ready to retire, but how do I turn this into an income? And there has been a long-standing mystery around this. It's easy to pile up money. It's really hard to spend it all down. I'll tell you a very quick story. My wife and I, we met in the United States, but we really fell in love in Japan. And part of our time in Japan was climbing Mount Fuji. And Mount Fuji is it's not the tallest mountain in the world, but it's pretty tall. And so we climbed it, a good chunk of it, and we got to the top and we said, all right, time to turn around. And we started to come down the mountain. And going up the mountain, Patience, was very hard, but actually coming down the mountain was terrifying. I felt like I was going to die multiple times. I thought, this is it. I'm done. This is it. I'm over. And it's true. I was reading in National Geographic that 85% of deaths are coming down Mount Everest. Coming down Mount Everest.
I thought coming down was going to be a breeze.
Me too. That's the surprise, and that might be part of the reality too. That we think it's going to be a breeze. Yeah, retirement, spending the money. Who can have trouble spending money, right? But it's spending the money that actually is the biggest risk of failure. It's after you're retired that you're more likely to see failure in your retirement strategy. So yes, coming down the mountain of retirement is sort of like coming down Mount Fuji. You don't know how long it's going to last. And honestly, no one knows how long we're going to live. So, how are we supposed to know how much to take out of our retirement accounts? So, yes, to your question, anyone can get an annuity, even if all you have is traditional, brokerage accounts, 401ks, IRAs, typical retirement accounts. If you're in the United States or Canada or the UK or many other countries around the world, annuities are actually making a major comeback in Africa, Asia, around the world. So talk with someone in your area who's a specialist in guaranteed lifetime income.
I cut you short from your story. Did you want him to finish that story?
Oh, sure. Well, I did make it down. I survived Mount Fuji, and I'm here to tell the tale. Yeah, and I've loved the chance to climb more mountains, but now we live in the Flatville of Chicagoland, where there's not a lot of mountains.
Thank you for sharing. Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
Well, does anyone ever have a clear answer to that question? That's a hard one because it's a daily commitment to saying what's working, what's not working, and what will I keep in my life? What will I improve in my life? What will I start doing today, and what will I now stop doing because it's no longer working for me? In fact, it's been coined the KISS method: keep, improve, start, stop. So I'll have to, punt on this question, Patience, because I don't know if there's ever been a magic moment in my life where it all went right for me. But I will tell you this: there was an aha moment I had when I realized that my advice I'd been given with money was not everything I thought it was. It was when somebody asked me this question. They said, Mark, if what you thought you knew about money turned out to be false, when would you want to know, and what would you do about it? And that little question shook me to my bones. I'll say it again because it meant a lot to me. Mark, if what you thought you knew about money turned out to be false, when would you want to know, and what would you do about it? And that little question led me down a series of rabbit holes. I ended up getting a certified financial planner designation to discover what is money and how does it impact my life and the lives of my family and my clients. And that little question, I think, should be something that could hopefully open the eyes of other and ears of other people listening today.
Tell us life after debit, better than debit free.
Yeah, being debt free is sort of a goal many people have. They come to me and say, Mark, I want to be debt free. And I said, well, that's fine, but what if you could be better than debt free? And they, of course, say, of course, I want to be better than debt free. And I said, well, let's set our sights a little higher than just being debt free. Let's be better than debt free. Debt free is sort of like zero on the balance sheet. You know, if life is your financial life is a marathon, then being in debt means you're way behind the start line. And I was in major debt. I had $120,000 of student loan debt, patience, when I became a young adult out of college, and no plan to pay all that debt off. I was way behind the marathon starting line in my own life, financial life. And if I was to just be debt free, it would have taken me years and years of hard work only to get back to the starting line of my life. But I would have been 4 or 5 years older or longer to pay all that debt off. Would have taken us years, decades. And I would have lost all the opportunity to grow money on the dollars I spent paying off the debt. So right away, I knew I had to find a better way to be debt free, not just debt free. I wanted an asset that could be earning and compounding for me while I was paying off my student loans. So what I personally did, I discovered a tool known as Bank on Yourself, and it's a form of dividend-paying whole life insurance. I used that policy, that cash value in my whole life policy, to buy all of my debt back from my creditors, the student loan companies that I owed money to. So I pumped money into this dividend paying whole life policy. We call it a Bank on Yourself designed whole life policy. I borrowed against it and basically bought back my debt. Patience, I didn't just become debt free. I now became my own banker. I became better than debt free. That's what's better than debt free. Being the bank. That's better than debt free, right? So for me, it changed everything in terms of my financial life, the life of my family, and many of our clients as well.
You are telling people that they have to bank on themselves and in the areas of their lives.
That's right. Yeah, I think that the days of relying on our corporation, like our business, the big industry factory job is over. I think relying on the government is over. I don't want them to be, the one that I rely on. They certainly are not reliable to do a whole lot. So banking on yourself is a play on words because you can, again, become your own thermostat for yourself, for your financial environment. Become the change you want to see, as the old saying goes, right? As Gandhi says, you want to be the change you want to see. If you're sick and tired of seeing banks ruining the lives of millions of people around the world, then bank on yourself. Find a way to become your own source of financing. I just gave everyone one simple way to do that, and that's using the tools that I've discussed in today's episode. But you can do it. It's possible. Where is it written that we have to rely on government or banks or Wall Street just to meet our financial goals?
What have you learned from business as a whole?
That the employee job was the risk. That's what I've learned. The employee job was the risk. If you are an employee, you have one customer, and that's a very risky way to live. Your customer, of course, is your boss. If you have an employee job and you have a boss that gets on your bad side or loses a little money and can't afford you anymore, he or she is going to let you go. He'll fire you. And that's one decision away from you being 100% unemployed. I don't like that risk. So instead, let's be the business owner. So what I've learned from business as a whole is that you can spread out that risk. What if you had 100 customers or 1,000? If one person leaves you, you'll be sad, but you'll move on. You've got all these other streams of income. The other thing I guess I'll mention quickly is that being a business owner is inherently, and really this is true whether you have an employee job or a business, it's inherently about value creation. So if you're not creating value for your boss, you'll be fired. If you're not creating value for your customers, they'll go and do business with the t-shirt shop across the street. You got to keep adding value. And I guess that's the best thing I've seen. As I used to think that was just for the very elite business owner, but it's really for all of us. Even if you're a little kid, you got to be adding value. Sweep that kitchen floor if you can. Do something to add some value every single day.
What is the most dangerous belief an entrepreneur can have?
I think the fixed mindset is something that is, I guess, the most dangerous belief. And I'll call it, and really it's been called by others, the arrival syndrome. So the fixed mindset and the arrival syndrome is the most dangerous entrepreneurial virus you can get infected with. Fixed mindset means I can't grow anymore. And the arrival syndrome means I've arrived. I'm as good as it's going to get. I know all there is. There's nothing more I need to do or learn. I just need to maintain where I'm at. That sense of arrival is when you know you're in the most danger. I call it like standing on the red target. If you find yourself just happy and fat and happy, that's when you're that's when you're Tom Turkey ready for Thanksgiving dinner.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely not do?
I'd say finding the courage to ask for help. While we talk quite a bit about control and use of capital, and I think there's also a really important point where you cannot be an island and be successful. Someone once said, Mark, if you could take any business book on a deserted island, which one would you take? And I'd say, well, I'd take none of them because none of them will help me except maybe to burn as firewood, because you cannot be successful in business on a deserted island. It's impossible. You must have customers, you must have vendors, you must have people who are helping you in the success of your business. That's what's so beautiful about being an entrepreneur, is that it is inherently value creation. It's in it, and money you receive in your business is like a certificate of good performance from your fellow man. If you're not making money in your business, it's because you're not adding value to other people. That's why whenever you buy a cup of coffee at the coffee shop, you, as the buyer, will tell the barista, thank you. And it's also why when the barista receives your money, he or she will say, thank you. You both are thanking the other person because you both received value. They got your money, you got the coffee. And if you're not doing that in your business, and you cannot do that in your business on a deserted island, let's say, you must find ways to reach out to others and ask for help and to learn how to help others.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
Well, honestly, the verbal processing of coming on podcasts like yours, Patience. you help you help me think through the pieces and parts of success in business. I guess as a verbal processor, according to counselors and more, I think I get my thoughts out while speaking. It has been a great help to have the privilege of going on shows like yours and to host my own show, which is not your average financial podcast. And by speaking and sharing and thinking out loud, sometimes the aha moments come in these moments, just like we're having right now. And it also comes in the conversations I have one on one with clients all across the United States. So I guess that's it. It's the privilege of getting to have meaningful conversation. And quite candidly, I would have thought as a kid that money was just boring stuff that was sort of relegated to spreadsheets. The more I've gotten into this thing called personal financial planning, I've leaned more heavily on that word personal because it's inherently personal. Your relationship with money is inherently personal. And I believe that if financial planning is done right, the tears might flow, sure, but they don't have to. But these conversations really should be among some of the best conversations of your life, because money touches all the best areas of your life: your legacy, your children, your work in the world, your leisure, your pleasure, the things that you want to do, the things that you are. Money is involved in all of the deepest parts of our lives, I believe. It's certainly not the most important thing. Money is definitely not the most important thing, but it seems to touch all the most important things. So you've asked, what's one thing that's contributed? I think in all this rambling, I would say talking with you and with people like you. So thank you for your great work.
Thank you for coming here and sharing your wisdom with us as well. Wow. What grounds you?
Yeah, it's the daily commitment to improvement, the routines of prayer and silence, journaling and reflection. And honestly, those on a repeat path helped me sort of know again, what do I need to keep doing? What's working? What's not working? But the best part is just having those cycles in regular formation. I'd say someone once said too, Mark, if you could take only one habit, if you burn down all your habits and routines and you could only have one, what would it be? And I would tell them time blocking. Time blocking. So grounding can be very practical. I said prayer and faith and silence, and those are all true, fundamentally true about me. But grounding me in the practical is time blocking. I block my calendar out and I say, all right, I will honor my own appointment with myself. That's so important. And so few entrepreneurs do that. They won't honor their own appointment with themselves. They'll show up on time to other people's appointments, but they won't show up to their own. So I would say the very best thing you can do is time block. If it's going to be 90 minutes of phone calls to your prospects, give it all 90 minutes. If it's 90 minutes of packaging up, your product that you're sending out to your customers, make sure you're spending 90 minutes doing that every morning, and that'll keep you grounded.
Let's talk about your business and tell us about it.
Okay, we are a full financial firm located in Chicago, but we work all across the United States and even have colleagues up in Canada as well. And we work with business owners, real estate investors, people who want to take more control over their finances and are sick and tired of hearing the same old financial pap that comes out of the fire hose of financial media out there. We work with folks one-on-one in an advisory role to help them meet their financial objectives. We have one-on-one conversations all day long. Me and the other advisors and colleagues I get to work with around the country are helping to shape and change the financial conversation across the United States. We're helping people become their own source of financing, get guaranteed lifetime income, and help their business and their families reach their goals.
How can we connect with you?
If you are interested in finding your own pathway in reaching your goals without taking a bunch of unnecessary risks, if you're sick and tired of seeing the account statement arrive in the mail for your retirement account and it's showing you ugly surprises of numbers dropping like a stone, then I can help. Reach out to me at kickstartwithmark.com. It's kickstartwithmark.com, and just put in the notes that you'd like to chat, 15-minute conversation, and we'll see if we can do anything to help you on your journey of in the real world success as well as online.
Thank you. There will be more from Mark in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you're encouraged by Mark's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, Success: How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life, when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Mark, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
Well, both, I suppose. Mornings, I typically read books, and then I'll throw a movie on sometimes in the evening.
But what is your favorite?
I guess I find myself enjoying books better,
Okay.
especially if I'm able to do something else at the same time. I don't sit and read a book too much, but I do use Audible and audiobooks like it's going out of style.
Tell us, what is your favorite book that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
I'm looking right at it right now, and it's been all the rage in my small circle of entrepreneurs and business owners I work with. It's called The Road Less Stupid. The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. Great book on advice from a gentleman who has helped run and grow and consult with hundreds of businesses. So it's The Road Less Stupid.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
That's a really good question. Honestly, I think maybe a pair of headphones and a microphone. Why? Because that gives you access to the world. Look at this futuristic world we're living in right now, where we get to talk to people anywhere in the world. Anything else is honestly just fluff. If you still have your connections, your friends, your colleagues, and you have headphones and a microphone, you could build an empire. You could build a very successful business.
What encouragement have you got for my audience who are not quite there yet?
Start with small baby steps, break it down to the smallest viable action. If you can't create a retirement account with hundreds of millions of dollars in there this afternoon, maybe you can do one thing today that helps you know you're in control. Someone once said, if you can't change the world, try cleaning your room first.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
There's a great quote, and I've got it not in my pocket, but it's hanging on my computer screen here. It's a Post-it note, and it's a quote by APJ Abdul Karam, which is it says, "We should not give up, and we should not allow the problem to defeat us." To me, that quote means the us is the starting point. The problem is something we can both work on together, and we should never allow the problem to defeat us. To me, that gives me goosebumps every time I look at it.
What is your next chapter?
Well, quite literally, we're releasing a book. So we've got a book that I'm co-authoring, thankfully, with a number of great co-authors, and it's coming out here in the next few months. It's called Fire Your Real Estate Banker, and I'm just one of several co-authors of that book, so we can't wait to release that to the wild.
And when you release it, where will it be?
It should be on all major book platforms, and including in-person bookstores, Barnes & Noble, that sort of thing, but on Amazon, certainly.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're only on the way?
Well, back to my idea of the arrival syndrome. I'm on the way. I'm certainly not there yet. There's a great quote by Ross Perot. I don't know if I'll get the quote exactly, but let me see if I can pull it up here really quick. Ross Perot, of course, was a very successful businessman, and several times he attempted to run for president of the United States. He has a great quote on entrepreneurship, and he says, "The definition of an entrepreneur is someone who is grateful for the progress that's been made and simultaneously dissatisfied with the rate they are making it."
Will you ever stop?
At some point, I'll be called back home on the other side of the grass, I guess. And at that point, hopefully, I've passed along the message to a few other people who can keep running with it, because there is a revolution afoot, that you don't have to rely on a Wall Street casino to be able to make it in this world financially. So no, hopefully not. Even if my heart stops, why should our mission stop?
Remind us how we can connect with you.
Best way to connect, if you'd like to have further conversation, is kickstartwithmark.com.
Mark, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with us once more.
Thank you for all you do, and keep up the great work. Patience.
Thank you. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Mark.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest, and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.